So very welcome all of you in today's session. So as we discussed that today we are going to start with the questions of the topic that I gave yesterday, and these are PYQ based questions, and thereby these are 3 questions, though I would ask you to attempt question number 1 and 2, and the third question is to be done at home during practice. I'll be discussing the model answers also. Now as I mentioned that the idea is to make sure that all the important PYQs that has been covered in the topic is covered in a structured manner. So I'll be giving you, there are 2 questions, the question number 1 and question number 2, and both the questions are to be covered in a matter of 15 minutes. So you have to write in 15 minutes. Okay, so your time starts now. The first question, I'll just explain the question before starting. Explain intra-generational and intergenerational issues of equity from the perspective of inclusive growth and sustainable development. What is integrated farming system? How is it helpful to small and marginal farmers in India? This came in 2022 and this came in 2020. So these are 2 questions. These are 10 marker, and your time starts now. Okay, the time that we have right now is 7:40. So 7:55 is the time. I'm giving almost 17 minutes. Your time starts now. Okay, so let's see how many of you stuck to the timelines. Okay, stop writing. Done. Okay, so I'm thinking of maybe conducting this series of PYQ based answer writing live and discussion, because this exercise is very helpful, I believe. Am I right? Yeah. Okay, so let's start. So question number 1 is about intergenerational and intragenerational issues. Now, how do you start this answer? So naturally, when you're writing such answers, you have to, so first the concept of equity. Okay, equity, it has to be intergenerational and intragenerational. So concept of equity, what does it mean? So first you need to explain equity in one line, and because we always come across term that India should be looking at equitable growth. Okay, so equity means a concept where there is special focus on weak and vulnerable sections in society. For example, women, children, backwardness. So instead of equality, we are going to focus on equity, and equity has to be intergenerational, man. That means from one generation to another generation or within the same generation. So the question says that explain intergenerational issues of equity from the perspective of inclusive growth and sustainable development. Now you're talking about, so there are keywords. Now this is not an easy question, I would say. Inclusive growth, sustainable development, and the concept of equity and intergenerational. Now what you have to do is that you define it in one line, the concept of equity, and you can make a flow chart. Okay, and moment you make a flow chart, explain the concept of equity, intergenerational. So intragenerational means equity within the present generation, and intergeneration is across. So let's talk about the first, intragenerational. Intergeneration says that fairness among individuals and groups living the same time period. So for example, if I say that this is the time period of 21st century, so in the same generation we have to make sure the benefits reaches to the masses, especially the vulnerable section. So but what are the challenges? The challenges are, the first, when we talk about India, there are a lot of issues across India. For example, regional divide is there. Various states have advantage in terms of education, health, infrastructure, access to job, so that is first. The second is the income and the wealth, inequality in terms of wealth, income, and here we have an Oxfam report you can put here. The second is social exclusion. The groups which are vulnerable section, SC, ST, OBC, women, they are marginalized section of the society, and thereby there needs to be special emphasis has to be given for education and health and the employment generation. And of course, in India, 90% people are in the informal sector. So in the moment you talk about equity, you talk about the vulnerable section, the challenges related to them, and then how you bring inclusive growth. So what do you mean? What is the approach of inclusive growth? inclusive growth means making sure the growth reaches all, irrespective of the who they are. For example, rural urban divide should not be there, gender divide should not be there, the vulnerable section has to be taken care in a special focus. And if you look at all these schemes, they are mainly looking at the weaker and vulnerable sections. Manrega is given for unskilled laborers. PM Jan Arogya Yojana is given to the first 50 crore people in India. The people who are getting is 55 crore people. Ujjwala scheme is basically a cylinder, access to clean fuel. Jam Trinity is about integrating the people through Jandhan Mobile Trinity. Then as special district is mainly looking at the weaker section of the weaker districts in terms of the empowerment. So this is intra-generational. Okay, so within the same generation we can invest and give the benefits. Now we talk about intergenerational. This focuses on preserving environment and resource for future generations. So intrageneration. So we are facing problems of climate change and pollution. My next generation should not face the same problem. A very good example would be, let's talk about the river bodies, the river Namami Gange. Namami Gange looks at cleaning the Ganga for not only for present but future generation. Now, because that is a project that will go on for, let's say, maybe another 10 years, 15 years. So intergenerational, across generations, the benefit has to be there, and thereby the biggest challenge that we face across the generation is environmental degradation, climate change and resource depletion. So sustainable development talks about making sure the benefits which are given to me should be given to my posterity, the future generations. And here you have to focus on these factors. Economic, for example, the choices that we have, can we say with certainty that people will have the same choices in the coming generation or not? We have option of EV vehicles, we have option of fossil fuel vehicles, we have options of, maybe aeroplanes, hydrogen fuel. Can we say with certainty that after 50 years, the same options would be available to our coming generation? The answer is yes as well as no. Yes, if you are able to use the resources in a judicious manner. No, if we are not able to we are able to, exhaust the resources. And thereby we have government measured schemes where we are trying to, for example, a very good concept is called circular economy. Now this prelims question also came on this topic, circular economy. Circular economy talks about, reduce, reuse, reduce the wastage. Then sustainable urbanization. Today we talk about smart cities mission where technology driven solutions are there. Today, then national action plan for climate change. We have 8 missions into this. Promotion of renewable energy, International Solar Alliance. All the government projects, welfare or development have to go through the concept of environmental impact assessment. So the idea is to be not only create benefits for the current generation, but intergenerational equity is very important, and inclusive growth and sustainable development has to be interlinked. So this is something that you have to understand. This question was not easy, I would say, but the reason why I gave this question deliberately, so that you're able to understand the concept of equity, intergenerational, and you're able to interlink things. I personally believe that maybe more than 95% people would not have even touched this question. Very few people would have understanding. I know a lot of people, when I ask the concept of equity, they are not able to explain. The concept of equity comes from Article 14, Article 15, Article 16 of Indian Constitution. Now, coming to the integrated farming system. So what is integrated farming? Integrated farming system says that an economic system where scientific integration of interdependent farm activities. For example, we have crops, we have livestock, fish, poultry, and they are all interlinked. Efficient use of inputs and higher productivity, it is based on concept that waste from one component becomes an input for another part of the system. So for example, you have dairy. So now here the waste of dairy can be utilized for the natural farming tomorrow. So the integrated system can be there. The same waste of dairy can be used for, let's say, agroforestry. I can use it. We can convert into organic manure. We can convert, for example, zero budget natural farming is using the cow urine, and it is used as Jivamrit. So this is the concept where there is no waste. The waste of one product can be used in the input for the other product. And why we are saying this? Because India's agriculture, almost 86 to 88% farmers are small and marginal. Because if you look at the question, they are looking at how can we small and marginal farmers. Now an average land holding in India is very less. It is 1.08 hectare. 0.08 hectare. That means on an average, every farmer has this much land, and 86 to 88% farmers are small and marginal, okay, which means they have less than 2 hectare of land. Now here we are looking at how the integrated farming can help them, because these are the farmers who are following a concept called subsistence agriculture. And because subsistence agriculture, they need to economize. So input side, for example, seeds, fertilizers, there you can look at the cheaper options which are locally produced, and thereby it can be a very beneficial thing. So we can create, see, try to understand, in economy, can we increase the land? Answer is no. Can we change the land ownership? Answer is no. Can we increase the number of farmers? That might happen. But can we decrease the number of farmers? That probably again is difficult. So what we can do right now is that we have to, in the same land holding, I have to focus on more efficient methods. We cannot increase the land, but we can make the productivity higher, and thereby such systems can be created. So there are multiple ways. How do you use this system? The idea is to make sure that you are able to utilize them. The first is efficient resource use. Now, efficient resource use means crop residues can be used as animal feed and hence avoid fodder prices. Animal excreta can be utilized as organic fertilizer. Biogas production can meet the household energy requirement, hence reduce the energy crisis. So you are using the resources in a very effective manner. The second is you are able to enhance productivity by using the same inputs. Okay, it can lead to agricultural diversification and intensification of crops and allied enterprises. Now, for example, we can follow multiple cropping. And for multiple cropping, we can use the inputs. Promotes environmental sustainability because it is environmentally benign, natural. Then you can also focus on income diversification. As per Ashok Dalwai committee, which came in 2017-18, that we have to double the farmer's income. Now you cannot increase the land size, but you can increase the productivity. You can use efficient use of inputs. You can go for alternative agriculture, that is, poultry, fishery, dairy, and that can add the income for farmers. Try to understand. I'm a farmer. I have a small 2 acre of land or 1 acre of land. How can I increase my income? By using my land multiple times, by using it more efficiently, by adding, maybe I'll go and take government scheme benefit. I'll purchase a buffalo or 2 buffalo, and that can be utilized for more benefits. I can earn from there. So that is the only way, because the same land cannot increase. The productivity cannot be 2x in a matter of probably few years. So we have to look for allied activities also, and thereby income diversification and stability. Okay, throughout the year, do different allied activities such as milk, crop, eggs, honey, and 2 to 3 times income can be added in the place of monocropping. So integrated farming system is looking at opportunities in a very effective manner. Second is adoption of technology. The farmer can adopt modern technology, mechanization. This will also create employment generation. In rural areas, we face a challenge of seasonal unemployment, and year-round employment can come. As per the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, integrated farming system can create 400 to 600 man days per hectare per year if you are able to use them in an effective manner. Also, the secondary agriculture leading to higher valuation and increased income level. So we have schemes also, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, and we have 60 plus locations which are created by ICAR to develop the integrated farming system model. And such questions would require you to, direct questions are there. You have to make sure that you revise them properly, have the pointers ready as input, and use them directly in the answers. Okay, so this is it will be able to double the farmer's income, ensure food security, and promote environmental sustainability. Going forward, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture should be implemented efficiently. Okay, so that completes the concept of both the questions. One last question is your assignment, and why I gave the last question, there is a reason why I'm giving these questions. The last question I gave because normally this question is directly or indirectly would be asked again and again. There is always a question that can we say with certainty that capitalism is a system that can actually serve the future or not? Has it served the past? If yes, in what way? What are the limitations? Because our government is following a capitalist system. Okay, so this question has come repeatedly. The theme has repeated in a very indirect fashion 3 to 4 times in the last few years. So it is very important that you should be able to interpret them and write a good answer. So that completes this topic. Now today we'll start with so today's objective is to continue the yesterday's class. In yesterday's class I had covered till FPO. I mean this topic. Point number 9 is what I'll be doing, and then we'll be coming to government budgeting. Okay. One more small change. Instead of having a session tomorrow, I would like you to give a break of 2-3 days, and either Monday or Tuesday we'll have 2 sessions, because suddenly it has become, I want you to go through what you've read in the last 2-3 days, and also I'll be adding a lot of new topics for people who are writing mains. So apart from the topics that I've given, I'm going to add a lot of new topics, though those topics will be covered in a separate fashion. So people who are writing mains, I'll be reaching out to them separately. So let's so topics, so we have covered. Now point number 9, because in the yesterday's class we discussed the common themes where agriculture questions are being asked, and agriculture questions are pretty much straightforward, very simple. You just revise, ready, make the topic ready, and you can write. Okay, let's okay, so millets, this question came in UPSC last year also, and millets were in news along the entire year. The good part about the mains exam is that you know the topic from where questions will come. So it is not about the question, it is about the way you write the answer. So if you have readied your resources, the pointers and note, believe me, you've done most of the work. You just have to revise them and execute on the final day. So millet as a alternative crop has been, millet comes under the concept of coarse cereals, and millet is something that the production around the independence was high, but it declined. Millet is also said to be a poor man's crop, but millet as a crop is very much suitable for India's climate. In many parts of arid region, millets can be produced, and millet can be said as small seeded grains, jowar, bajra, ragi, and in the current context, we have identified millet as a crop which is suitable for India because they can be grown in many parts of India. 50% of the India is rain fed. That means we don't have irrigation supply. So millets can be produced there. Second, millets are highly nutritious in nature. They can meet a lot of needs, our food needs, the nutritional security in terms of access, nutrients. Now, if you look at the nutrients which are there, a lot of nutrients you can see. The benefits can be seen in terms of rich in iron, calcium, magnesium, dietary fiber. Also, Indian government in the last few years have promoted millets as a crop in a very effective manner. And International Year of Millet happened in 2023. Shri Anna, last year in the budget, government came with the concept of Shri Anna, where again the promotion of millet was there. The millet as a crop, multiple crops are there, as a crop has sustained or it has declined over a period of time. But still we are producing around 18.4 million tons, and primarily the states are the Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh. Now millets are also has a potential for exports, but again we have not done much. The consumption is low. The reason it is poor man's crop, and millets as a crop, the demand has declined over a period of time. Now, but when we talk about malnutrition, we also know that in India we have access to food, but food security is there, but nutritional security is not there. So we, instead of going for that, we can promote. So government has been trying to include the millets into the food security program. For example, in the Integrated Child Development Scheme and PM Poshan, we want to include the millets into the MDM system. Then promotes millets, research, at the same time millets exports. Government has been promoting millets and millet products across pan India. Okay, so what are the benefits? It is rain fed, it requires less water, it is rich in the minerals, it provides nutritional security, it will also add to crop diversification, will diversify crops, and when we diversify crops, the cropping pattern that we are following right now, it is not good for the soil health and ecology. So that is where the millets can be very helpful, and then also it can enhance farmers' income if the demand of the millets goes up. Now, what are the challenges? First, the millet demand is less, so government is pushing it. But one reason is that why as a farmer I should produce if government is not procuring. So government should procure millets from the through the MSP system. That is one approach, but that will actually help us to increase the demand. Second is there is less awareness about millets, because we are, in terms of palate and taste, the millets are not so tasty as we have basmati rice or so it is also said to be poor man's crop. In fact, as the income increase, the poor people, even though they had access to millets, they move towards wheat and rice for the same reason, because the rich are consuming, so we should also consume them. So naturally, with time, the demand for millet came down. Also, we don't have adequate infrastructure for processing and validation. The same reason, the demand is less, the production is less. So the overall, we have to create a demand for that and thereby address them. Now, what can be done? How do you increase demand? First is awareness. Second is you have to expand or diversify the MSP. MSP system, if millets come under MSP system, it is already there, but procurement government is not doing. आपको procurement करना होगा, and we have to add all the millet varieties. Also, millet based marketing in the ENAM, electronic national agricultural marketing, can be done, and decentralized procurement processing can be done. Then millet consumption can be promoted based on awareness, behavior campaign, how the millets can be beneficial. Then millet based entrepreneurship, boost research. Now this is again an area where government has to push, boost research in the millet areas, because millets are high yielding and there are also climate resilient varieties can be created. Okay, so they will offer a sustainable solution, and it aligns with the India's food security and food nutritional security needs of the country. Okay, so you can see a lot of questions have been asked. Explain the role of millets for ensuring health and nutritional security in India. Very direct questions. Then we have a concept, other crops, rice wheat system. And I believe that rice wheat system can repeat again. This year it was in news multiple times. What are the major factors responsible for making of the rice wheat system a success? In spite of this success, how this system became a bane for India? So both, now this question has repeat. Now again the same. How has the emphasis on certain crops brought about the change in the cropping pattern in the recent past? Now question number 2 and 3 are same. Elaborate the emphasis on millets production and consumption. You can see the question is repeated. What are the major reasons for declining rice and wheat yield in the cropping system? How crop diversification is helpful to stabilize the yield of the crops in the system? So in last 2-3 months, multiple time, in fact, I have made videos on my YouTube channel of Economics Simplified by Pramod sir. I have made multiple videos on the rice wheat system, and it has come multiple time in the Indian Express Explained section. So you can go and see the video list, and you can directly, because I have discussed that part in detail. Because see, try to understand why farmers are going for rice and wheat in spite of government saying that don't go purchase other crops. It is because even our research system is highly biased towards the biased towards rice and wheat. And rice or wheat are procured for food security, that is our the PDS system, and thereby naturally the demand is there. The second is the rice wheat system are giving higher yield in comparison to other crops. So as a farmer, my incentive is to earn more income, and thereby, and government is saying that, see, whatever you purchase, whatever you produce, I'll purchase it. But again, the problem is that in India, MSP is only helping 6% of Indian farmers. So majority farmers are still facing the challenge, and thereby we have to create an ecosystem. So that is the millets concept. I hope that is clear to everybody. Online students? Okay. Now second is aligning irrigation practices with cropping pattern. So what is cropping pattern? Cropping pattern is the kind of crops we have. Now as we know that India is witnessing a challenge of crops which are highly capital intensive, input intensive, water intensive, and thereby it is highly skewed. So thereby it is important that, especially in states like Punjab and Maharashtra, and thereby we have to adapt to the cropping pattern, bring other crops, also adopt technology so that the solution is more suitable for the future. So we have to move towards sustainable agriculture. For example, micro irrigation can cover a lot of crops. We can have better mechanism, rice intensification techniques which are using less water, climate resilient seeds, we can consume less water, and government is having a lot of initiatives. For example, Pradhan Mantri Sinchai Yojana is promotes Har Ghar Ko Khet, micro irrigation expansion. Then per drop more crop on efficient water use. Then canal lining repair command area to improve the conveyance efficiency. Then GIS based crop planning and irrigation mapping supported under National Agricultural Marketing. Okay, crop diversification has to be promoted. Okay, all these will create a lot of benefits. It will consume less water, the crop yield will improve, irrigation efficiency can be done, and we'll move to low water crops such as pulses, millets and oilseed. So we have to diversify the crop, but again government has to promote them. For example, pulses and oilseeds, government has already come with a MSP system. So if you move to pulses and oilseed, the MSP system will support you. So farmer can move to them, and water usage is less. Then the challenges are same there. Again, the policy is highly biased towards wheat rice system. The awareness is less. Land holdings are smaller, so they are not efficient in the smaller ecosystem. And if I talk about, let's talk about efficient micro irrigation system or subsidy system. Again, this will be using. This is less effective in the smaller plots. So Niti Aayog has come with a lot of initiatives from economic survey, realign crop incentive and MSP to promote region appropriate water efficient crops. So I can promote MSP into region specific approach. So for example, crops, areas where these crops can be produced, will promote MSP there instead of having a pan-India MSP system, and strengthen micro irrigation through targeted subsidies and FPO based model. Now what is FPO? Now this topic will again repeatedly come. The question has not come in the mains. FPO is farmer producer organization, and FPO is like a cooperative. So let's say 1,000 farmers come and they create a cooperative, and they will integrate all the input system. Government will identify them, support them, give subsidy, and they will do direct marketing of their product, and they will sell to direct individuals and remove the middlemen. So that is the concept, FPO based model, which means marketing, agricultural marketing can be done through FPOs, and it will act like a cooperative system, same we have as milk revolution and other areas. Promote agroclimatic zones based on cropping plans to remote sensing and AI, and integrate planning into watershed and river basin development strategies. Okay, watershed and river basin means as per the water availability in different parts of India, we can have the irrigation system. For example, India has a lot of areas where you have good river irrigation system, especially in the northern belt. Also in the southern, not southern belt, but in many parts. For example, in Maharashtra, you'll find adequate flow of good rivers. Their tributaries also there. So in those areas, I can have an integrating irrigation system which are canal based or other based. Okay. Also, last mile delivery of irrigation water through community based water governance. So this is what is supposed to be done. Okay, so this topic, just read it properly and you will find them. Now you can see to what extent micro irrigation would help in solving water crisis. Suggests measures to improve water storage and irrigation system to make it judicious use of under depleting scenario. Most of the questions which are in news, which are there in the PYQs, are even relevant today. So very good thing would be that what I would do, that I will be starting a PYQ series, and I'm sharing it right now. So I'll be starting a PYQ series, 5-year of PYQ series, 2020 to 24, and I'll be covering all the questions with model answer with discussion. So this is what I'm thinking. This is the next thing, and we'll have only 1 hour of session. I'll try to cover 6 questions in 1 hour, and that way we can cover all the important themes of the last few years. And believe me, after the end of this session, when you see the mains paper, you'll find that many topics will come from here. Again, as I mentioned, it is more about how you're able to write good answers. Okay, so I will leave this topic, farmers' income. It's an old topic. I'll come directly to topics which are highly relevant. Now, this is very important topic, modernizing agricultural data through e-technology. Okay. Online students, any doubts anybody has? I hope. Pretty factual, I would say. Agriculture is pretty boring also. Is it boring? The next topic is you can on your cameras. Is it boring? Agriculture is pretty boring, factual. But you know, in UPSC, they would ask questions from areas which is pretty boring. And these topics will assure sure short marks. Even though they might look boring, memorization or multiple revisions are needed. But believe me, this will help you. I'll give you an example. The last mains I wrote was in 2015. And I was a teacher around that time. I was teaching, and I got that extra attempt because of UPSC increased the age and all. So because I was teaching GS3 economy, so I did not prepare economy. I did not prepare economy, and I said, okay, I'll revise it. Because I was teaching, so topics were ready more or less, at least the analytical topics were ready, but a lot of factual topics I could not prepare them. For example, economics of animal rearing, small topics, food processing was not done very thoroughly. I felt that I will do in the end, but in the end I could not find time. I was a teacher, and I was completing my modules at different places, because at that time I was running my online system, and I was teaching at different institutes. But that was a mistake I made. Even though I scored very high in the GS paper 3, but in 3-4 answers, I did not have the facts and points. I knew the concept, but I did not have facts and points because I could not revise them. So many a times you know the topic, but you have not read recently, the contemporary facts and data is not ready, and even if you know the topic, you can't write good answer. So in UPSC, there are low hanging fruits. For example, in economics, there are direct questions will be asked on subsidies, on crop diversification, on MSP, on food processing industry, on integrated farming system, on economics of animal rearing. The same will apply in internal security. The same will apply in disaster management. And you will find that these questions, they might look very easy, but you have to score them by putting a lot of effort. And these are low hanging fruit. By just 15 days of effort, sheer donkey work you have to do. गधे की तरह मेहनत करना पड़ता है, because you have to mug the information, facts, data multiple times. Even though it might look boring, these are the areas which will fetch you good marks. Okay, that is my advice from my own personal experience. Now coming to, so modernizing agriculture through e-technology. Again, a very important topic. There is a topic called e-technology in agriculture. So digital technology is transforming India. Now here we have schemes, initiative to modernize agricultural data. For example, Fasal Bima Yojana uses drones, GPS, remote sensing, and 1.49 lakh crore have been dispersed since, and database verification is done. Second is digital crop survey, uses geotagging and satellite imaging to map crops at farm level, supporting precise scheme targeting. eNAM integrate 1360 mandis, offering farmers real-time market and pricing data. As per economic survey, this has facilitated 2 lakh crore trade. Agriculture census 21-22 is all digital. Thereby, first time using tablets. Even census that we are having today, it will be entire digital. Just 2 days before, the Registrar General of India said that this time the census would be conducted in a shorter span and data will be available easily. Then recently government has computerized the PSIRs, Primary Agricultural Credit Society. They are the smallest unit of the cooperative systems, like a bank, and this will also bring real-time financial operational data into the agricultural finance ecosystem. So it is believed that PSIRs are linchpin. PSIRs are linchpin of the agricultural ecosystem, and the cooperative banks, they have a reach of around 11% of the entire lending of agricultural area, and this their PSIRs serve as a base, and they are right inside the villages, and farmers can reach there. So moment these are like banks, moment they are part of the system, the farmers can benefit from there. Then Kisan credit card is also digitally linked with Aadhaar and banking system. Then we have application like Kisan Suvidha, M Kisan, Pusa Krisi provide 3 crore farmers with agri weather forecast and crop advisories. Again, as I said, these are very boring, but you have to revise it multiple times. Okay. National e-governance plan in agriculture, which covers 700 districts. NABARD is promoting agri startups, AI-based diagnostics, and precision farming real-time advisory tools. Okay. So so modernization where technology can be used, and we are moving towards evidence-based farming from experience-based farming. Now you can use this data, very interesting, from experience-based to evidence-based farming, and we have schemes like AgriStack. Now there's a new concept of AgriStack, India Stack, fostering transparency and accountability. Going forward, bridging digital literacy, rural connectivity, and strengthening the farmer trust in data system will have to be developed, assessed to make the agricultural growth more inclusive. So this topic, again, you can put the important pointers from here in your notes. Now, Now I'll be covering these topics: revising India's approach to food subsidy, then food security pulses, poultry industry, agricultural policies. These are pretty straightforward, so I'm not covering. Then legalizing MSP, very important topic. Harnessing AI. Now this is a very important topic. Harnessing AI for agricultural transformation in India. Digital agricultural mission. Optimizing India's buffer stock management. Supreme Court panel report on agricultural distress. Now what are the themes? Millets, agri-marketing, integrated farming, micro-irrigation, food security, crop diversification, transport, logistics, food processing, rice, wheat, irrigation, MSP, supermarket, cropping pattern, agri-revolution, subsidy, water use. All these are topics that will be there. So let's take the first topic, that is revisiting India's approach to food subsidy. Now, when we talk about food subsidy in India, food subsidies account for around 2% of India's GDP, around 2%. And so let's talk about, so food subsidy, they account around, total subsidy, the food subsidy is around close to 2 lakh crore. Okay, we all know that government procures at MSP and it is given at central issue price by the 5.5 lakh fair price shops. Fair price shops are ration shops. So let's say MSP is 50 rupees or 30 rupees per kg, let's say, and you are getting at 3 rupees. So, and then you have cost of 10 rupees, the transportation, other cost. So total it is 40 rupees, but you're getting at 3 rupees. So technically 37 rupees is subsidy. Though now this government is giving you free under what? Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana. So technically whole 40 rupees is free. So food subsidy is a very challenging part, and in food subsidy we have a concept of PDS and National Food Security Act. Total allocation is around 2.1 lakh crore, and it is out of the total government. Now this data is important. Out of total government expenditure, it is 5.8%. Can you believe that? Only for food, government is spending 6% of their total budget expenditure, which is huge. Then 81 crore people are covered. Allocation per person is 5 kg. Again, this is free right now. Actual cost is 35 rupees. So almost 30 rupees per kg. Today it is free, so almost 35 rupees. There are leakages also, but now the leakage has reduced. How subsidy works, that I have already explained. Government procures at MSP. Then the 10% is the other cost, maybe 10 rupees, and then they sell at the central issue price. Okay, so difference is the subsidy. What are the issues? Now I'll come directly. Again, these are very pretty straightforward topics, so I will not go in detail. It is a huge fiscal burden. Why? Because when you are diverting the resources to our agriculture, you have less resources for other parts. For example, education, health, or agricultural investment. So there is an opportunity cost of investing in the subsidies, food subsidy. And we are covering 81 crore people in the food subsidy. Even the Shanta Kumar committee said that we don't need to subsidize so many people. 40 crore people should be touched, and you are covering still 81 crore. That is huge. The second is there are problems of procurement. In India, procurement happens in regions, not at all places. So there are biases. For example, states like Punjab, Haryana, West UP, the procurement is very high, and that is not happening in other states. So this, this is something which is a challenge. The third is we are procuring almost 1.5 to 2 times more than what we require in the buffer stock, and thereby it is costing wastage and leakage, and wastage and the storage issues are there. Then leakages are there. They have reduced a lot, but still there are efficiencies remain, especially areas where offline is being given. Today we have a concept of the food that we are getting from the ration shop. उसमें क्या होता है कि भाई आपको जो food मिल रहा है, they are using today technology. They are using Aadhaar based identification, and the leakage has reduced drastically, but still it is there to an extent. Then nutritional stagnation. Why? Because our PDS is not adding the nutrition part. Okay, mostly calories. So we are giving food, but what about nutritional part? And that is where the pulses, the oil seeds, or the millets can be added here. Okay. Now when I am selling, now here MSP. Now MSP has increased more than almost 55 times since independence. MSP came in 1965. Okay, after 65. So since 55 times the MSP has increased since independence. Since the MSP system came. And moment you increase the MSP, the government is procuring at MSP. So market price is bound to be above MSP. Let's say I'm a farmer and government is giving me 10 rupees. Now, if I purchase from you, if I sell you, you are a market person, I will want 11 rupee or 12 rupee. So this causes inflation. So MSP based backed procurement, they also impact the prices. Inflation happens. Also, it impacts. If you are more procuring, government is procuring more, the market में supply कम हो जाता है, उसका भी impact आता है. And there is a poor targeting in many states that many people are excluded because of technology issues, other factors. So overall, these issues are still there, I think, but the biggest challenge is the fiscal burden and how long you are going to do that. A paradox that we are looking today is that our middle class is suffering. A middle class has to, because middle class is very aspirational. They are spending much. Their income is stagnating proportionately, but at the lower income level, government is pushing or giving them a lot of benefits. Education is free, health is free, insurance is free, empanelment through Ayushman Bharat. Maybe we are trying to improve the public education system. We are giving them free ration, access to electricity is there, access to free water is there, access to, all those things are there. And here also people are earning. With time, the earnings have gone up. So the lower income group people are actually getting, because of government support, their quality is improving. But in the middle class, we are still facing challenge. So I think it's a good thing for the people who are getting the benefit, but the middle class has to be supported. And that is why government recently increased the tax bracket to 12 lakh rupee, because middle class is actually very suffering because their income is stagnating. See the job market, AI led disruption, and across it is happening. Okay. So government job nikal lo, fight maar ke, at least some the disruption market forces, dependency will come down. But one more thing, and that is I want to highlight, that if you are a go-getter, if you are ready to work hard, if you have the skill, market rewards much better than what government will reward. Okay. Okay. Now, so what are the government reforms and measures? In the PDS system, or sorry, food security system, government has come with a concept called One Nation, One Ration Card, where portable ration access is there. It is being implemented almost in 36 states and UTs. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, which is a part of, provides free grains, end-to-end computerization of Aadhaar seeding, EPOS machine. Now you have to put your biometric and then you can only take Digi Seed ration card, digitized ration card. 95% are covered under Aadhaar. DBT, direct benefit transfer, is there. In the food subsidy also, right now we are doing pilot in many places. Okay. Then there is always a question that should we remove the PDS system or this food security system, or can we move to a price based system? Now this is debatable, because instead of giving you food, I will give you money, or I can say that go and purchase from the market, and from market the government will give the difference. Okay. So shift from price subsidy to income support, that is one demand, that why don't we give income directly? Because today we don't have the problem of, integration of Aadhaar system is there. I can directly transfer money to your account. Why we are running such a big ecosystem of PDS system, food security? Because this has its own challenges. But as we know that instead of, how do we know that the money given to you will be utilized for food security? And that is where government has to come with this. The second is we have to add nutritional security in the food security program. That is another suggestion, whether it is the millets or pulses or oil seeds. Also, the National Food Security Act is as per the 2000 census 2011. That has to be updated. Also, to make MSP system more effective, because right now MSP is biased. MSP is biased in, let's say, few states only. On only 6% of the farmers are benefiting MSP. Now, how do we increase or diversify the benefit? By promoting local procurement or decentralized procurement. Okay, so decentralized procurement, in many places we are doing that. In UP we have come across. Rationalized MSP procurement to avoid excess stocks and reduce FCI, burden. Okay, so instead of procuring from all over India, different 1 to 2 part, we can procure Also, we can use smart card AI based targeting to eliminate the ghost beneficiaries. Okay, so ghost beneficiaries are people who should not get the benefit. Okay, so alternatives being debated, should we go for the DBT or should we go for, because moment you go for DBT, you have more freedom, more choices. Leakage is not there. But there are challenges of inflation. Also, universal PDS will reduce exclusion. Everybody should get the food, but again, it will have higher fiscal burden. Then nutritional PDS, we can add these crops, but it is highly complex. It has its own challenges. We can also give conditional cash transfer instead of, we can give income and nutrition goals both. Again, how do you monitor? And these are the challenges. So, what's the way forward? Balance fiscal prudence with welfare. Move towards nutrition-based centric PDS. Now, you can use these words in your answers. Nutrition-centric PDS, including millets, International Year of Millets 2023. Adopt data-driven targeting with dynamic beneficiaries. Digital infrastructure for smooth DBT. Okay, we already have in place though. Open-ended procurement and strengthen buffer stock norm. Buffer stock is a buffer wheat rice that we have to maintain. Create social audit system for transparency and accountability. So these are the you can say benefits that can be created. It is essential for ensuring food and nutritional security, especially in vulnerable areas, and it can stabilize rural demand, especially during crises like COVID-19. Also, we can achieve SDG goal 2 like zero hunger and reducing poverty. Remember such data, SDG goals. There are 17 goals and 169 targets, and so these can be there. Now, see the question, very simple. Salient features of National Food Security Act. How the food security system has helped in eliminating hunger and malnutrition. 2021 data. Okay. So pretty straightforward questions on agriculture comes. There is nothing much you have to think. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Then a very important topic I want to cover. Legalizing MSP. Now this has been in debate all the time. Now what is the way forward? Should we legalize MSP? Should we not legalize MSP? Now MSP is a system under which government procures 23 crops, and the demand for legalizing MSP has been there since the last 5 years, especially when the government brought 3 farm laws. Legalizing MSP means we create a statutory measure where government will, by law, will procure MSP. But MSP system which came up around 1965-66 is actually executive decision. And government does not want to put a burden, because moment I legalize MSP, government is bound to procure, and it will add huge fiscal burden. Right now we are procuring, let's say, 2 to 3 lakh crore rupees. If we are able to procure all the crops under MSP system, the budget will go to 10 to 15 lakh crore. Almost 50% of India's the tax revenue might go into the procurement part. Okay, so it is not easy, because MSP is only advisory and not legally binding. And Swaminathan Commission recommended MSP to be least at least 50% of the cost of production. So now MSP data, 22 crops, everything, who recommends everything, all these things are there. In 22-23, 800 lakh, almost 80 million tons of paddy and 60 million tons of wheat were procured. Can you believe that? 80 plus 26, almost 100 million ton. Almost 100 million ton. Our food production is, you know how much? Only wheat and rice we are procuring almost, let's say, 110 million ton. And what is the total production? Around 300, maybe 10 or 20 million ton. 318 or something, 320. So this is the total production of the food grains. And out of this, almost 1/3 is being procured. Can you believe that? By the government. So you can imagine the cost it is doing that. But let's see both the options. First, try to see that how legalizing MSP will be benefiting. The first of all, legal status will actually assure price assurance and income security to farmers. It will protect farmers in distress sale and exploitation of middlemen. This is also there. The third is it will improve agricultural investment, because then farmer will know that my income is secured. My income is secured. I will reinvest the income. The rural indebtedness will come down drastically, because almost 1 in every 3 farmer in rural area is in debt. That is also a data. It encourages crop planning and market stability, and a legally guarantee aligns with the goal of doubling farmers' income. So these way you can see that legalizing MSP has virtues. But on the flip side, government does not want to commit. The first and biggest challenge is fiscal burden. Where will the money come from? It is estimated that as per Niti Aayog that 10 to 15 lakh crore will go annually if government procures. If all. May distort cropping pattern because I will go for crops which are procured more. Wheat, rice already we are witnessing. It will discourage private sector participation in agri market because now everything government. Instead of private market, it will be government market. Let's take an example. Fruits and vegetable, no MSP. Do they work well? Yes, they work well. In fact, the farmers or the people who are involved in food and fruits and vegetable, their income is better than the cereal based farmers. Okay, yes, there are ups and downs also, but yes, challenges in storage logistic may lead to overproduction and increased food grain wastage. So these are the topics that you have to remember while these are 5 points in both pros and cons. We can make a table. Now, what is the way forward? Government has come with various recommendations. The first is Swaminathan committee, which said that you give MSP at C2 plus 50%, and C2 means it is the highest price. Right now, government is giving at A2 plus FL and 150% plus this. But here C2 means if I have land, if I have assets, interest on that is also added. So if you move from A2 to FL, the cost will increase by maybe 10 to 50%. The MSP will increase by 10 to 50%. So naturally, government is not ready. The Shanta Kumar Committee said that let's move from fiscal procurement to income transfer. That we already discussed, DBT. Dalwai Committee believes that it recommended market reform and cost reduction. It said that instead of legalizing, reform the market, focus on reducing the input cost and diversify instead of giving the legal MSP. Diversify means procure more crop and don't prioritize wheat and rice only, go to other crops also. Standing Committee in Agriculture suggested that strengthening of procurement in eastern and tribal region rather than legalization. Areas where MSP can benefit should be promoted and expanded. Then Niti Aayog Economic Survey has given some recommendation, expand procurement beyond wheat and rice. That means diversification of procurement. Now, online students, I want to ask, can you put it on the camera? Okay. Energy is down or energy is high? I need to know that. The monotony. These topics you've already read multiple times, I'm sure. But the idea is to remember keywords. Remember the keywords, understand how to use them keywords. You should have a factual data related to the keyword and integrate them in the answers. Believe me, it will work. Today we have a lot of videos telling do this, do that. This is what we've been doing since day one. Okay. So expand the procurement. Second is decentralized procurement. This again, where the farmer producer organization methods can be used. Now, instead of, if you decentralize procurement, the benefit will accrue to the people where the MSP system is not very effective. And why FPOs, it will be linked with the agricultural marketing. Link MSP procurement with local nutritional and food security need. That means we can procure the millets and all. Encourage price deficiency payment system. For example, Bhavanantar. Also, we have a concept called PM Asha. In PM Asha, the focus is again that I will procure at the MSP and the difference of MSP and the private can be given. Invest in market infrastructure to Agri Infra Fund, ENAM and the digital platform and promote diversification and align MSP regime with agro-ecological suitability. Okay, so these terms are little heavy, but try to note them somewhere and try to memorize multiple times and bring them in the answers. So legalizing MSP will not be a solution. It might give short-term solution where income security of the farmer is assured, but it will have long-term implication in terms of backwardness of agriculture. Investment in agriculture will not happen. It will also create challenges of fiscal burden in long run, and market system will be replaced by government procurement. It's like we will move to socialist era. So that we don't want. There are challenges. A balanced approach is needed where we have to strengthen procurement system, also improve the market reform and the reforms for the holistic development of agriculture. Now you can see this question. What do you mean by MSP? How will MSP rescue farmers from the low income trap? You can see such easy questions come, but again, it is not about the question, it is about what you write in the answer. Here you have to make a diagram, okay? Data, MSP, procurement price, benefits, how many farmers benefited, okay? How it helps in low income trap. positives, negatives, okay, and again way forward. Now this is a very important topic, and I want all of you to focus here. AI in agriculture. Now AI is everywhere, so you can't miss in agriculture also. Let's understand. I want you to open your eyes and ears. Okay. Am I audible, guys? Chalo. So AI in agriculture transformation. AI is emerging a game changer in agriculture, and recently government has identified agriculture as a sector where AI can be used. Now this data is very important. India's agri-tech market is projected to reach 24 billion, and currently less than 1% has been utilized. Now let's see application of AI in agriculture. Again, highlight these pointers. AI-based crop and soil monitoring system, real-time data for optimized fertilizer and the irrigation use. Then crop cutting experiment, CCE, under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana have adopted AI and mobile apps like CCE Agri app for yield estimation, how much yield should come. Startups like Fasal, Croplan and AgNext uses AI to assist farmers with weather alerts, pest prediction and market intelligence. Okay, so you need to remember all these points, just memorize them. ICAR and IBM collaborate on a AI-driven weather forecasting model. IBM is a company. Advise farmers in real time. AI is used in grading and sorting of produce using image recognition and machine vision system. So we have huge or better technologies that have come. Digital platforms like eSAP in Karnataka and eNAM are integrating AI for price discovery and supply chain optimization. And AI-based drones are being deployed for pesticide spraying under Digital Agricultural Mission. Krishi 24/7, an AI-based chatbot launch, provides multilingual advisory to farmers. Okay, so all these pointers can be noted down. Now again, government schemes. I'm sure you have not read them. India Digital Ecosystem of Agriculture Framework built a federated database for integrating AI application. Then National Strategy for AI proposes Center for Excellence in AI in Agriculture. Digital Agricultural Mission supports PPP-based AI solutions in precision farming, land records and insurance. Meaty response for AI for social empowerment, encourage AI innovations in the small land holding. Again, these are highly factual thing, but you have to use. In the PM's Kisan and soil health card is also linked with AI for beneficiary mapping and customized fertilizer advice. Okay, so you can use ICR as partner with private firms to develop AI models for disease reduction and yield forecasting. So there are some 8-10 points. Read it multiple times. Read it so many times that the points are there in your understanding very thoroughly. Okay. Now what are the challenges in the AI system? Fragmented data infrastructure for deployment, limited access to technology, digital literacy, smartphone. AI models require high model data set which are scarce in Indian agriculture. Then initial cost is higher, and there are ethical issues of data privacy, algorithmic bias and exclusion of small holders. For example, AI comes with own limitation also. The first is AI hallucinates. AI-based solutions are not always effective. So you have to do proper monitoring of these solutions, and thereby you need a unified agri-stack data. Agri-stack. Remember India Stack, which led to creation of a DigiLocker, UPI-based system, Aadhaar, integration of Aadhaar everywhere. The same, we need to create an agri-stack data which can be utilized across similarly as Aadhaar system, and it can safeguard the framework. So these are the areas. We'll have to see how they develop them, and you can all this answer. I would say these pointers are the most important pointers. Revise it multiple times, and I know it's pretty boring, highly information based, but we have nothing else. We have to do that. Now this is again an important topic, Digital Agricultural Mission. Okay, Digital Agricultural Mission. This I'll take the last topic, then I'll complete it, then we'll cover the. So Digital Agricultural Mission, again the factual, it is highly factual. It's a flagship initiative of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare to modernize Indian agriculture. And here government is trying to integrate databases, AI, Internet of Things, blockchain and remote sensing to improve efficiency and productivity. We already have a national strategy on AI by NITI Aayog. Okay, it has been implemented through PPP model, leading agri-tech, Microsoft and technology companies. A federated database is being developed using digitalized land records. A unified farmer, now this is important, a unified farmer service interface will act as a single digit platform to access the service related to credit, insurance, input and advisory. Now this is again a game changer, because now one of the challenges in India is giving insurance and credit facility to the farmers, and thereby we don't have a data similar to UPI. Can we also create a credit system which can be given not based on the credit history but rather the cash flow or the income possibilities? Because today our loan system is highly biased. You are giving loan to somebody who has asset. What if I'm doing a business and I don't have asset, but I have a good possibility of income, or I have a current business which has a good cash flow? So cash flow based businesses should be given loan, and this concept of having asset so that every loan is backed by asset is not right. It is not sustainable. It will shunt our growth process and it will not create opportunities as we imagine. The India will become in the middle income trap. The growth will stagnate at 5-6%. It will not grow to 8 or 9 as we assume. Even today, the cost of credit in India is very high, very high. It is one of the highest in the world. I talk about the emerging economies or even the developed economies. And for that, the reason is that we have high cost of credit because of prudential norms and the regulatory framework. Also, we tend to believe that the people who's taking loan is not going to return it. And that is where let's make the loan very secure. So this kind of mindset has to be changed. Yes, there'll be failures. Yes, there'll be defaults. Yes, there'll be NPAs. And that is where technology can be a unifier, where technology can create a platform where all data inputs can be put in. So real-time, then again, data infrastructure for real-time crop monitoring, yield prediction, market linkage and input optimization. Okay, government initiatives are, a lot of companies are there who have been collaborating, and this will improve precision agriculture delivery, improve the government subsidies, all the benefits would be there. And challenges again, digital divide, data privacy, consent, land record digitalization is incomplete. I'll be covering land reforms and government budgeting, infrastructure, and of course industry. So these are few topics which are remaining. Ensure full land digitalization, Aadhaar seeding, data privacy, provide digital infrastructure, local language based digital tools. Digital agricultural mission represent transformative step towards smart, inclusive and efficient agriculture. Okay, so this is the topic that rest I think this is a very basic topic, which is a static one. You can cover it by. This is one more topic, Supreme Court panel report on agriculture distress. Go through it. Okay, I'll discuss it in the coming class. So let's stop it now. I have some personal work, and that is where I thought I'll just carry on till 9 p.m. only. So we'll have 2 more lectures, but lectures will be from tomorrow or day after. I'll be taking lecture hopefully on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm telling you. So you have time to revise all the notes I have given. Be very thorough. Also, you can write PYQs and submit to me. You can make us write PYQs and scan it and message it to me. You can just scan it and send it to me. Okay. I'll go through them to see how much you have done well. And again, this series will not be over. As I mentioned, after this, I'm covering that. I'll be making sure that there'll be 5 years PYQs will be covered in a very structured manner. So that is what the focus would be. Okay. I hope this part is clear now. Now coming to, now this part will continue. I'll be sharing some PYQs tomorrow also as an assignment, and then you can write the answers on them, and then I'll be discussing them. Okay. So I hope that is clear. Any doubts anybody has? Okay. So carry on. Pretty lot of stuff we have done in 2-3 days. I'm sure a lot of information is on your head right now. Read them properly, thoroughly, and write PYQs. After the coverage of series, I'll be covering 5 years PYQ series. So revise your agricultural notes, revise the topics which I gave, and then we'll come to 5 years PYQ series. Believe me, it will be very effective. Okay. Chalo, take care. Take care. Bye.